probably going to be pretty short and sweet. Hey, it's me, Grace. Today, I'm not sure what to talk about, honestly. I don't really have a theme for this one because it's our final week of school and we're giving that final push to try to get everything completed. And it's really zapping our energy, and I feel like I'm tired every day when I wake up and I'm tired every night when I go to bed. So I really don't have a lot of things to share today, so I'm going to get right into my works in progress and finished objects. I've almost completed my simple yet effective cowl by Tin Can Knits. I have not woven in the ends yet because I wasn't sure that I liked it. I used Bernat Baby Sport in the color Blue Jeans. I'm not real happy with the effects that I got. I have a lot of color pooling going on and I don't really like the way that it looks. Also, I don't like the way it drapes. It doesn't fit me at all like this one fits her. It's a lot looser. I feel like somehow it ended up too big. So I probably will rip this back out and make something else with it. If I do this pattern again, I'm probably going to use a wool yarn, like a superwash or something. It's hard for me to tear this out and then make a new one right now because we're full on spring. It actually feels like summer here in South Carolina. I'm wearing a sunburn from yesterday. I like the patterns by Tin Can Knits. I like this pattern. I really like the repeats and stuff. But I just am probably not going to tackle it again, probably till the fall. I'm using the same Bernat Baby Sport yarn in Blue Jeans for a prayer shawl, and I started out with just a half granny. I'm using an it's a US I9 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, and what I like about it is even though it's a little bit large, probably for the size of the yarn, it works up a little faster than a smaller hook. And I like that it gives me more space between the stitches. Because it is hot down here and I want people to be warm, but I don't want them to be boiling hot, you know? So I started off with a half granny, and then I got bored last night, and I decided I wanted a little more variation. I wanted to add a little more flair to it and some different design element. So I did a row of single crochet around the triangle, and then I came back with double crochet with just the chain space between the double crochets to create a space. And then I did another row of single crochet, and then I picked up the half granny again, and I'm going to finish off with the half granny in the same number of rows that I did here, which is 10, I think. Yes, I have 10, and so I have 6. I have 4 more to go, and then I'm going to add a border. I think I'm probably going to do just a single crochet border, but I might border it with this same pattern here because I think it looks nice. And I've done it before and really liked the way it turned out, but we'll see. Sometimes I add fringe, sometimes not. It kind of depends on how it strikes me, you know, or how much time I have, or how much yarn is left over. You know, there's just a lot of things that kind of go into my decisions on how I'm going to end a project. I do like the color changes in this shawl. I didn't like them as well in the cowl that I made. Another work in progress is this. It's called Bernat Knit Triangle Shawl, and it's a Yarnspirations pattern, which is where I found it. If you sign up for the Yarnspirations newsletter, they send you out links to free patterns and stuff in your email. I'm using a little different things than what they said to use. They call for a US 8 or 5 millimeter circular knitting needle, 36 inches long. that would be, or size needed to obtain gauge, and a stitch marker. Well, I have a stitch marker. I'm using one of these that I got from Fully Spun. It's a little bee stitch marker, and I'm just using it to mark the right side because when I'm joining on the new yarn, of course, I don't want one side to look like this and one side, you know, to show where I've joined it. The stitch marker really is to mark the end of the edging here, but I find that I have to move it each time, so it just wasn't working out for me, so I'm not using it. I'm just, when I get to the end, I'm just trying to be mindful of where I need to be, you know, doing the edging here. So, and you can see that I messed up on this one. I was watching TV and I forgot what row I was doing somehow. So I've got a little mess up here, and then where's the other one? There's a little mess up right here. So I don't know that I'm going to continue with this. It goes from this color to white to this color, and the colors I'm using, just so you know, I'm using Bernat Baby Sport, and this is the color, I should know this, Popsicle Blue, which is, I really like this color a lot, and I'm using Angel White, but this is the Beehive Baby Fingering. That's what this one is, Peyton's Beehive Baby Fingering. And then this is the Peyton's Beehive Baby Sport. So I have different weights of yarn here. I have 2 sport weights and then a fingering weight. And I don't know that it's that drastic of a difference, but I can tell when I'm knitting that it's, I don't know, it's a lot lighter. It's leaving more space between the stitches, or between the rows. And here's another mistake. So I'm probably going to rip this back out, probably frog it. This color here is fawn. Plus, I'm using a bigger needle. The needles I'm using are Takumi, Clover Takumi bamboo needles, 36-inch circulars. This is a US, what is it? US 11. So these are 8 millimeters. So these are actually 3 millimeters larger than what they've called for, and I just don't know. These are the only 36-inch needles I have. I am doing this mystery knit along. It's the Hohi Starting Point Mystery Wrap. It's available on Ravelry. You can join or sign up there, and I will try to remember to put a link in the description box. Sometimes I forget, and so please do look for it down there. I will be putting the link there if I can remember. So it includes 5 colors of yarn, this mystery wrap. I'll show them to you. I needed 5 colors, and this is what I chose. So I kind of wanted a dark plum, and I couldn't find that in the sock yarn. I couldn't find just a plain, like a dark plum. So I couldn't get that, and then I wanted a sage, like a lighter sage green, and I couldn't find that either. So instead of buying the green that went with these, that was, it was like this darker green that's in here. We looked and looked and looked, my kids and I, and finally my daughter landed on this and said, well, I think that looks like the right color. Well, now that I've gotten it here, it's not exactly the right color, but I think it's a close enough match. I think I'm going to go ahead and go with it because, you know what, I spent a good bit on this project already because I got 2 of each yarn, and plus I had to buy new needles for it, so I think I'm just going to go with it, and I hope that it turns out as nicely as I think it might. I'm kind of excited about it. I'm a little nervous because I haven't been knitting from patterns that long, and the ones that I've done are pretty simple. This one I think is going to be a little more challenging, and I'm already seeing some abbreviations and stuff I'm not familiar with. So I'm going to probably be doing a lot of looking up to figure out what I'm doing, but in the end, I hope to have a decent gift that I can give to my mother-in-law. As for finished objects, I've really been working mostly on prayer shawls, and then I had a lot of yarn scraps I was trying to use up, so I heard of an organization that takes baby hats, and they distribute them, of course, at the hospitals. So I was planning on using some of my scraps to make hats for them, and so I came up just with some little cute hats. This one's just pink and white. This was, I think the pink and the purple and this darker pink here were not scraps, but most everything else was. There's another scrap hat. This was totally scraps. And this was totally scraps. So I've made all kinds of different colors. You can see, and this was actually, I made some of these smaller ones because some of the babies, my first kids were preemies because they were twins, and they were born at 32 weeks, and they were pretty small. My smallest was 3 pounds, 8 ounces, and her head was pretty small. They gave me a crocheted hat that someone had made, and it really was too big for her head. And the ones that they give you at the hospital, forget about it. Anyhow, I made this little tiny one, but someone had given us a crocheted scarf, and none of my kids wanted it. It was like a hand-me-down, you know, in a bag of clothes. And none of my kids wanted it, so instead of sending it to Goodwill, I took it and I pulled it all apart and I reused the yarn for the little hats. So I've made several. I won't show you all of them, but I've made, let's see, how many hats did I get out of that? I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hats, and then I had just this little decorative row on this little purple hat from the same yarn. So it was a good bit of yarn. And I'm glad in the end that I did save it. I participated in So Sweet Violet's Be Happy Make-Along. You could do anything that was bee related. So I made this little crocheted bee. It's very small. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it hangs in my kitchen window, just on a little suction cup hook. And I thought it turned out kind of cute. And I did this plastic canvas bee as well. He has antennae, but you can't really see them very well. But he's just been sitting around in my kitchen, and I have other bee-related items for my kitchen. But I just haven't decided if I want to hang him somewhere or if I just want to leave him where he was, you know. So, I don't know. I also made this for the Be Happy Make-Along, but I didn't get it. I think it was completed in time, but I didn't get it. I didn't get the picture uploaded in time, so it didn't count, but it's going to go in my kitchen. I finished my grain shawl. I'm really excited. And I really like the way that the color changes turned out. It turned out probably better than I had hoped. I didn't know if the color changes were too bold, but I really like the way it turned out. And I'm pretty pleased with it. I made a couple mistakes. Unfortunately, I can really tell where the mistakes are, and I did try to fix them. I wanted it for a prayer shawl, but at this point, I'm kind of, you know, the jury's out. I'm not real sure whether I want to give it with that big of a mistake in it, or that what I perceive as that big of a mistake in it. And I will, after it's washed and everything, I'll probably make my final decision, but I just don't know at this point whether I want to include it in my June prayer shawl delivery or not. One of my groups on Ravelry was asking for some baby layette sets, like send home sets for newborns, and so I was working on a project. I have never used cotton yarn for baby things before. I just usually always use acrylic. And so it's been a little different. I'm not sure I like it very well because it doesn't, it has no elasticity. So it's kind of, I don't know, like the hat is not, it's round, but you know what I mean? It's kind of floppy-ish. So I'm not real sure that I'm so happy with it, but anyhow, I'm probably going to send it anyway. I mean, it looks fine. It's just, I guess it's just me. Because I want it all to be perfect. And it's just not perfect. I have a friend who is very close to my heart, and she's such a sweet person. I wanted this for her for Mother's Day, and I didn't get it done. And so I'm still working on it, and she won't care. I mean, she'll appreciate it anyhow. But I'm making these little knitted blocks, and then I'm just using the duplicate stitch to stitch on the initials for each of her children. So I have 2 done. And then this one, I'm going to attach, I don't know if you saw it, but I'll link it in the description box, my Tiny Angel Wings crochet tutorial. But I made these little angel wings, and I'm going to attach them to the top corner of this one, kind of like this, I suppose, or somewhere kind of up here, because this baby was one that unfortunately was stillborn. So I'm going to attach that one just to represent that. He's no longer with us. He's with the Lord. And so I had planned on attaching these onto a little line with some miniature clothespins and maybe across the picture frame. So I was going to make either find or paint one of the wooden ones that I have white. I want white, and then hang the little squares across on a line with some miniature clothespins. So these are the 2 completed ones. I have one that's a block, but I haven't done the initial yet. So this has been kind of a fun project, but it started off to be kind of a frustrating one because I kept messing up on my first block, and then I had to tear it out, and then I'd fix it and tear it out, and fix it and tear it out. So finally I got it right, and I hope that, well, I know that she'll appreciate it, but I hope that she likes it, you know what I mean? I don't know if you've heard of it, but if you follow the Bakery Bears, you'll know that on the 25th of May, which I think Kay said is her birthday, she's planning on doing a make-along, well, not a make-along, a knit-along, a sock knit-along, but she wanted everyone to have Opal Yarn. And she said she didn't know how easy it was to find it outside of like the UK or Europe. So I went looking because I'm participating more in make-alongs and knit-alongs and things because I've never done them before. I wasn't sure how they worked and all that when I first got onto Ravelry, and people were doing crochet alongs and knit alongs, and I had no idea what they were doing, and I didn't know how to get involved, and it just was kind of scary territory for me, and I wasn't that intrepid, so I decided just not to do it. So this year I am participating in all kinds of make-alongs. I did the Lime Along with the Thistle Hollow Evelyn, and I did the, which is still going on, by the way, because it's still May. You still have time to get in there and do it. So I will link her below, the Lime Along, and I will also link the Bakery Bears. You know what? I'll link them. I'll link the video she talks about it in, which was not the last episode, but the one before that, I think. So I'll have to link that in the description box below when she talks about casting on for the knit along. So I've never made socks, and I've really been kind of well, I've been kind of hesitant too, because I've only used double pointed needles a couple of times and I wasn't super happy with the outcome because I had some gaps between, or ladders in my work, and yeah, so I'm a little bit nervous, for lack of a better word, about casting on. I did manage to get the yarn. I actually found this on Etsy. I got this Opal yarn from Felted For You, and I will link her also in the description box below. This is really cute. It has little piano keys on it, and on the yarn wrapper it has, or what some people call the ball band, it has a picture of like a drum set, an amplifier, and it says Klangwelten, I guess is how you say it. And it is 75% virgin wool, 25% polyamide. And it is, of course, sock yarn. It looks like German, so I'm not sure how to read it all, but these are 100-gram balls of yarn, skeins of yarn. And I'd tell you what the color name is, but I can't read it. I can't read it. But here's, I hope that'll show up fine. But it's like blue and gray and cream. So what I'm going to do is make a pair of socks for my husband. And I'm using the pattern, or I hope to use the pattern, Petty Harbor by Raina Curtis. And this was a free pattern that I got from Ravelry. I went looking for men's sock patterns, and I don't know if he's gonna wear them, but I figured I would make them anyway. If he doesn't wear them, I guess I'll just take them and wear them myself. Also, I'm open to suggestion. I have never used a hand-dyed wool or hand-dyed yarns before. I bought this fully spun Winter in Iceland, and I don't know what to do with it. If y'all can maybe leave some comments and suggestions below, but I just really don't know what to make out of it. It's so pretty, and I want to do it justice, and I want to make something that's going to last, something that one of us will wear over and over and over. I thought about a hat, but you know what, I just don't know. I just am not sure what to do with it. I'm so excited about this yarn purchase that I made. I found this lady on eBay, and she has been absolutely wonderful. I wrote her a message because some of the bids were ending in a day, some in several days, and I wanted to wait and get one shipment instead of several small shipments. I just wanted one big shipment, and I wanted to be able to get the invoice and pay it and all that. Well, so we had to do a little bit of talking back and forth, and she's such a sweet lady. And not only that, she surprised me. She put so many little extra gifts and stuff in my order, so I just have to share it with you. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to link her in the description box. And this peaches and cream cotton yarn, and I don't know, the colors are showing up maybe a little darker on camera than they actually are, but the lighting really is pretty good. It's early morning. This is called Ivy League, and I've never seen this particular colorway before. And every yarn came in one of these pretty organza bags, which is just amazing. I've never gotten anything so pretty in the mail. I also got this. It's Drops Fable, I guess how you say it, or Fable. A long print. This is a sock wool, it's super wash. I got, what are the colors I got? One is, oh, let's see. Oh, well, you know what? It only has a number. Yeah, it only has a number. It doesn't have a name. So this is $6.50, and I thought it was nice. I don't do a lot with greens and browns, but I liked the little flecks of blue in there and stuff, so I got that. And then also in this bag, she put the same brand, and it's color 913, and this is, it kind of reminds me of like a dark, stormy ocean. I don't know if you can see it very well, but there's some flecks of blue in there, and it goes to like a gray. It's really, really pretty. And I got 2 of those. And inside this bag, she gave me a little gift. Look at that. Stitch markers. She gave me a yarn needle, which is pink. I know my daughter's going to want it. She loves everything pink. Well, my youngest of my 3 daughters, she's going to want that. I don't know if she's getting it, though. And a row counter, which I was just thinking to myself the other day, I really probably need more than one row. I have one, but I need more than one because of, you know, different project bags and stuff. And that is just so awesome because I didn't know she was going to include those things. So that one's in a pretty pink bag, and I know my daughter's going to probably want that too. There's also this, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can pronounce this name. Maybe you know how to pronounce it. I'm going to try and probably butcher it. Schossenmeyer, I guess it is. Regia, and it is also a sock yarn. It is, let's see. I don't know if this one has a color or just a number. I don't know. I'm not sure how to say it. Anyhow, it's this color. And I thought it was really pretty with the different flecks of green and kind of grayish and yellow in there. Then I got this other yarn. Let's see. This is the one I've really kind of been waiting for. It's so pretty. Look at it. And this is Cloudborn Fibers Highland Superwash Sock Twist Hand Paints, and the colorway is Spring Flowers. Oh my goodness. A little bliss in every stitch, it says, and I believe it. It feels so nice. And this is the color number, in case you want to see. Made with love in Peru, it says. And it's a fingering weight yarn. It's superwash, though. It's 80% superwash fine Highland wool and 20% polyamide. Color crafter, I'll say. And this is the color. And this is just 100% acrylic, but it's very soft. And in this bag, she had other gifts that she stuck in there. Another row counter, more stitch markers, another yarn needle. She's gonna make me where I have supplies in every single project bag that I own. And look at these cute buttons. Aren't those so precious? Look, the little lambs. And a giraffe. And then these just little white buttons, and she doesn't know it, but I'm a button collector. I love buttons. I used to get into my mom's button collection and dump it all out and just play with the different buttons, and think the packaging she did was so lovely. I mean, these organza bags, they're so nice. And this was an expense on her part, you know, because the yarn I felt was already very fairly priced. And then she included all these gifts too. So this one's just Red Heart Soft, and it is an Aran weight yarn, apparently. It doesn't have a colorway, it's just a color number, but I thought it was a pretty color. It's kind of, let's see, I think it's kind of between an aqua and a seafoam green, so it's a kind of a unique color. I am not sure I've seen another one quite like it, but I like it a lot, and I've got 2 of these. And then she put another gift in this bag, she put more of these cute buttons, and these are wooden buttons, by the way. Got a little fox in there, some elephants, little horses. Aren't those cute? And then the little plastic teddy bear buttons that are so adorable. You know what? I'm thinking of putting these on some baby hats that I'm making to send off to a charity. That would be really cute, don't you think? This is the only one that didn't come in a bag, and because it was already wrapped in plastic, but this one is Hobby Knit Magic Knit DK yarn, and the color is, let's see if I can turn it around the right way. It's called Assorted Shades.
It's shade 02, it says. It's kind of like a coral, and then it goes to kind of a lighter pinkish white, and then it has flecks of green and like a fuchsia in there. I really like pastel yellows and pastel blues, especially like a periwinkle blue that has a little purple in it. Those are my favorite colors. And so I got this Drops Baby Merino. This is 100% wool, it says, but it's superwash treated extra fine merino wool. I was trying to get yarns that I could make into things and then wash them. So I was really looking for, if I was buying wool, I wanted superwash. But this one, it is, let's see. It says Yarn Group A, and it calls for a 3mm hook, so it's pretty, I don't know if this would be maybe you can tell me, is this a fingering weight or a light fingering weight? I think maybe it's a light fingering weight. It seems pretty small. Well, let's see. It's about the same diameter, I think, as this yarn over here. And this one is it's super fine. So I think this one also is super fine. Maybe you can tell me if I'm wrong. But it feels really nice. It's so soft and squishy. It is, excuse me, this Mary Maxim Prism yarn. And I think it's so nice. It has cream, green, and blues, and they all just kind of fade together. So pretty. And the colorway is Seascape. Just beautiful. Beautiful yarn. And this is listed as a number 3 light. This one is actually 100% acrylic, but it feels, I don't know, it has a little different feel, I think, than the other acrylics that I've used. And it has kind of a halo thing going on here, if you can see it right there. Another gift, inside this bag, she put more buttons. Little yellow teddy bears this time. And more little sheep. Aren't they so cute? Look how cute those are. So, a huge, huge thank you to her for all my neat stuff that she gave me. That's not all, though. When I looked in there, she had my invoice. She included this plastic page protector, and she put all my stuff in there. And inside, she put a ruler, which, I mean, you always can use a ruler, right? Especially if you're doing gauge swatches and stuff. And then she sent me these stitch markers. Look at those. So cute. I like the little sock. That is so sweet. And then one says, well, a couple of them say made with love. And then there's a little flip-flop in there with a rhinestone in it. And a little pair of tiny feet. They're so cute. Love it. And inside, she included a whole bunch of patterns. Look at all those. So many patterns. A bunch of sock patterns, a shawl pattern. Oh my goodness, so many patterns. And then she added a couple of really nice coloring pages. So I'm just totally blown away. I mean, she went totally above and beyond anything she needed to do. And let's see. I will link her in the description box. Please, please go to her eBay store and check her out. This sweet lady is in her 80s, and she's running this online yarn shop to try to keep active. Let's see. In total, it was a little under $100 for all the yarn plus shipping. Also on eBay, I purchased this. How pretty is that? You know what? If I made something out of this, I would probably give it to my mother-in-law because she loves purple and green. This is Crystal Palace Yarns Monaco. This is a 44% rayon. It says 34% bamboo, 11% nylon, and 11% acrylic. It feels really nice. And I like the different textures in there. That's pretty cool. It's color 404. Unfortunately, this is a hand wash and dry flat yarn. But you know what? That's not a deal breaker. So I just thought the colors were really pretty. Another eBay purchase that I made was this Gundle Hot Socks Reuben yarn, and it is Merino Superwash. I can't read it. It's in German, apparently. 50% wool, 25% viscose, 25% polyamide. It's a little bolder than probably what I would normally use, but it'll be nice for something. And I also got this one. Now, this one was listed as new, but when it came, the ball band was all torn up. And this is bamboozle yarn from Crystal Palace Yarns. And the picture online looked like a brand new skein, and it was listed as new, but it doesn't look new. It looks a little worse for the wear. Not terrible, but not what I was expecting, so I'm a little disappointed. 55% bamboo, 24% cotton, 21% elastic nylon. Let's see. The colorway is Fall Herbs. I thought was real pretty, but it says hand wash or machine wash. And to dry it flat, it says 8 to 10 U.S. needles, 5 to 6 millimeter for this yarn, so it's a little bit thicker than the sock yarns that I got. And on the seller's note she sent me, it says, "Thanks, Grace, rewound the yarn for you." This was a 99 cents for this yarn, plus, you know, paid a couple dollars for shipping. But I'm sorry to say, I was really kind of disappointed that it came the way it did, because I was really expecting a new ball of yarn, and that's not really how it came. But I'm excited to use it, and I might give it to my daughter. She's getting into finger knitting a little bit, and so I might give it to her and let her make something out of it.
Today's nature walk is all about poison ivy. It can grow just about anywhere, and it can be a real problem for folks who are very allergic to the oil that it produces, which is called urushiol. Mature poison ivy flowers and produces clusters of white waxy fruit. Unfortunately, the birds find this very appealing, and when they eat the fruit, then they'll distribute the seeds, which can cause more poison ivy to grow around your area. Poison ivy can grow as a vine or a small shrub, and poison ivy has leaves in threes, so you've probably heard the rhyme, leaves of three, let it be. One way to tell the poison ivy vines from other vines is that, for example, a wild grapevine is a woody vine and it's smooth, but a poison ivy vine has little hairs on it that help it to attach to the tree, so it's a hairy looking vine. The whole poison ivy plant is poisonous. It all contains the oil urushiol, and this is a colorless, oil that you can get from the leaves, stems, roots, and vine. It can actually remain active for months. So if you have it on your clothing or anything, you can even get it when you go in to wash the clothes. The dead plants and roots can even cause reactions for a couple years after they're dead. And I've heard of people burning them in piles and actually having a reaction from the oil carried in the smoke. Poison ivy produces more oils in the spring and summer. So if you're really sensitive, you'll need to try to stay away from them, especially in the spring and summer. Usually the rash presents itself as water-filled blisters that appear in clusters. Generally, if the oil is removed from your skin within the first 10 minutes under running water, you can avoid rash. However, sometimes different soaps can actually help spread the oils over and make the reactions worse. You can actually use rubbing alcohol to remove the oils if you have it handy. Poison ivy spreads underground by rhizomes and seeds. Poison ivy can be confused with Virginia creeper. Virginia creeper grows, however, with groups of 5 leaves instead of 3. To control poison ivy, you can dig up small plants or repeatedly cut them back. You can also use herbicides like 2,4-D, which is pretty popular, especially among farmers. You can also get animals to control poison ivy, such as goats, because they will actually keep on eating the plant back until it just can't survive anymore. Be careful when using weed eaters and string trimmers to cut back the vegetation, because the string trimmer can actually sling the oil around. That I thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you'll join me next time. Till then, bye!